Yes, indeed, folks. Listen to Blue Please here on cynicalbrit.com with myself, Total Biscuit. Ha ha! Yes. I don't know why. Why would you do that? Ha ha! I suppose it's Pirate Please, or perhaps Blue Pirate. Who knows? Arr, ladies and gentlemen. Arr, you'll be listening to Blue Please here on... Actually, wait a minute. That's Cornish Farmer Please. Ha! Get it away from me. Right, okay, let's talk about how much I suck at Syndragoza. Yes. It's kind of sad, isn't it? So, a discussion was had. And that discussion was had on a show that I rather like called Octel and Hordak vs. the World. It's on VTWProductions.com. And occasionally they talk about raiding and such like that. Very cool. So, I thought that I would follow up on this topic because they got a very nice discussion on their forums, which are very cool, and you should go check them out, regarding the concept of lethal boss mechanics. Yes, indeed, lethal boss mechanics. So, I shouldn't really have to explain to you exactly what a lethal boss mechanic is, but I'm going to anyway. Lethal boss mechanics, ladies and gentlemen, boss mechanics that kill you, like, right then and there. So, I like to make some examples. There are some examples of really lethal boss mechanics. If you've been playing God of War 3, there are certain things that just will kill you outright. Generally speaking, they're rather easy to avoid, but they will kill you if you don't get the hell out of the way of them. Which, to me, is, as far as I'm concerned, entirely reasonable. Now, the problem that I currently have is that a lot of normal modes right now, in fact, possibly all of the normal modes, simply do not have lethal boss mechanics. No, they do not. That, to me, is a problem. So, here's how you construct a proper lethal boss mechanic. You make it so that it's got to tell, yeah? So, in other words, people need to know when it's coming. It's got to have some kind of obvious tell, maybe an audio file, some kind of movement, some kind of casting effect, and of course, raid warning messages and things like that. So it's got to have that. Secondly, it's got to be easily avoidable, assuming you know what you're doing. So no crappy gimmicks that are just here or there. It's got to be, I can avoid it 100% of the time by doing this. Yeah? By doing this, I can avoid the mechanic. Simple as that. And I will live! And that's good, isn't it? You want to live, surely. Now, there are other mechanics that you can't avoid, and those are non-lethal boss mechanics. That's fine. Something like constant raid damage. Things like the ability to... Let's think of an example. It's a couple. Let's talk about some non-lethals. Non-lethal boss mechanics. Right now. Rotface. Yeah? Rotface non-lethals include stuff like the spray. It includes stuff like the slime at the side. It includes stuff like being hit by oozes. Those have got to be non-lethal boss mechanics, because otherwise it's stupid. But which of those three, ladies and gents, has to be non-lethal? Well, there's a couple of them that do, but there's one of those three mechanics I've just mentioned that could be lethal. And by being lethal would make the fight better. So, here's the question. How? Which one is it? I'll give you a guess. Let's have a quiz. A quiz live in the chat room. Those of you on cam, it's a visual gimmick, folks. Those of you on cam, get a piece of paper, and I want you to write the correct answer to this. It's going to either be A, B, or C. Which of these mechanics should be a lethal boss mechanic? Is it A, the slime at the side? Is it B, the slime spray from Rotface? Or is it C... Yes, indeed. Is it C, the green oozes? Write your answers on a piece of paper right now and put it in the cam window on cynicalbrit.com. Yes, indeed. A, B, or C, ladies and gents. Tell me the answer. Now, in the meantime... Actually, there isn't really anything in the meantime, is it? These guys need to hurry the hell up. Ah, we're getting answers right now. There we go. Yes, there we go. B, B, B. Omega has to make it a B. There you go. See, everyone says B. Yes, that is correct. You all win amazing, fantastic prizes. Well, maybe not. Actually, I do have a couple of amazing, fantastic prizes. Why don't I give them away at the end of the show? Yes. Still have to wait. So, okay, those 3 mechanics, one of those should be a lethal boss mechanic. Which one? It's the one that, it's got to fulfill the criteria that I mentioned earlier to be a proper lethal boss mechanic. No, it's not C, you fool. Right, 1. It has to have a tail. 2. It has to be reliably avoidable. And 3. It has to kill you. Okay. So, does it have a tail? Yes. It's got a casting time, it's got an animation, and it's good. Yeah? In that respect, it works. 2. Is it completely avoidable on a reliable basis? Yes. Yes, it is. And that's fine. Now, 3, it should kill you. Now, there's where you run into a problem. With this boss mechanic, if you make that lethal, then you kill any tank that accidentally runs in front of it. That's bad. So, here's what you do to fix it. Yeah? You can alter the mechanic to make the slime spray lethal again. So, you put a range element into it, as in, the further away you are, the less damage it does. So it is lethal within the range that the raid should be in. Yeah? But it's non-lethal outside of that. That makes sense. That would work. So, why do I say that that should be a lethal boss mechanic? Because right now, it is a trivial boss mechanic. Here's the problem. If a boss mechanic doesn't add something meaningful and dangerous to the fight, then it shouldn't even be there to begin with. Now, on harder modes, of course, and indeed, I would imagine slime spray on hard modes probably hits like a frickin' truck. Am I right? That's the question. Am I right? Certainly should be. Now, right now, it doesn't. In fact, to the point where you can stand in the slime spray and it doesn't matter unless your healers are awful. Therein lies the problem. That's why the mechanic does not matter. Other mechanics that don't matter that should be lethal. The fire orbs on the princes. Yeah? On the blood princes, you've got fire orbs that reduce in damage as long as they pass through or near other people before they hit their intended target. Now, in an ideal situation, you would have to block, you would have to move, and you would have to ensure that the damage was reduced. But, in normal modes, you don't have to. So it's a non-lethal boss mechanic to the point where it is a waste of space. Honestly, it is pointless. It might as well not be there at all. It's a little extra hassle for the healers and nothing else. It doesn't add anything meaningful to the fight. Now, if you want to talk about the travesty of lethal to non-lethal, then you need only look at Naxxramas. Naxxramas was the prime example of ruining an instance by taking out lethal boss mechanics and replacing them with declawed non-lethal. Prime example, Hygen the Unclean. You know what used to happen when you failed the dance, ladies and gentlemen? So if you were dancing here, and up, and down, and around to the side, and getting on your funky disco, then you'd be fine. However, if you did not, then you would die! You would be dead! However, not anymore, ladies and gentlemen. You don't even have to move all that quickly. You can be hit like 3 or 4 or even 5, and of course 5 or 6 now, thanks to the gear that you currently have. Buy this thing and nobody cares. Nobody cares. And why would they? Because it's a declawed, previously lethal, but now non-lethal boss mechanic. Of course, that's not all. Let's talk about a few other things. Let's talk about something that used to be a lethal boss mechanic. Something that's always got under my skin. You remember XT002? The, what the hell was it called? The temparic or tymponic tantrum, whatever the case. Okay. What about that? What about the tantrum? The tantrum used to do 100% damage. As in, it would kill you unless it was healed. Guaranteed. Not anymore. They nerfed that too. So it doesn't kill you anymore. Was it like 120%? Whatever the case. It would kill you unless it was healed. Now, it doesn't. So, it's pointless. It becomes a simple, oh look, hey, raid damage, woo! Whoopity frickin' do. More raid damage, just what we always wanted. That's nonsense. And you know what? It made the fight more annoying. In the terms of, it's too easy. So, why am I bringing this up? Well, I'm bringing this up, ladies and gents, because I have had a few encounters with Syndragoza. Yes, indeed. The guild is on Syndragoza and we're working on it, and it is the dullest freaking fight. Oh, let me just tell you about this. Bad fights include any fight whereby the first 2 phases are incredibly easy and take about 8 minutes, and then the third phase is like, oh god, what's happening? Ah, fire! I know. That's bad. Because that means every time you wipe, you gotta do 8 minutes of that again. Give or take. It's like that stupid... I remember back in the day, Kale Fast. Prime example of terrible. First 2 or 3 phases, easy. Really easy. The only phase that was remotely hard, and this was the one you had to learn, was phase 4. Which means if you wiped on phase 4, guess what, ladies and gents? Phase 1, 2, and 3 all over again. And it took ages, and it made me want to kill myself. Oh, God. Terrible. A total waste of time. And you might think, oh, well, 8 minutes isn't a lot. Total biscuit, you're whining about nothing. I'll tell you why it's a lot. 8 minutes and then 30 seconds of actual gameplay while progressing is awful. So let's have a look. 8 minutes plus maybe 2 minutes getting back in there, getting all sorted out, maybe another minute buffing, maybe discuss a few more tactics. So in total, the downtime to actual progress is about 12 minutes. So every 1 minute of actual progress, you are got about 12 minutes of nonsense on that fight. Why? Because of that. Those phases 1 and 2 are awful. Phases 1 and 2, too easy. Phase 3, crazy. Absolutely crazy. It's not properly balanced at all. So how do you balance it? Well, I was kind of annoyed at myself for a few things. So I kept getting hit and dying by those stupid bloody ice bombs. I will freely admit it. I have awful depth perception. Awful. Like, really, really bad. I could hold something in front of my face and I wouldn't even know it was there. Honestly. That's terrible. So I kept dying on that stuff. I learned it eventually, but it's embarrassing. Really embarrassing. But what bothered me more so than anything is that I had to get hit by it so many times. It's like I had to fail 3 times in a row to die to that thing. I should be dead straight away. Now, here's the thing. You take that fight, yeah? 8 minutes. How about you condense it to 4 and make it way more intense? What's the problem with that? How about you make those ice bombs lethal? Completely lethal. And I'm talking about normal modes here. So, some people will argue that, well, that's what normal modes are. Normal modes are, hey, here's loads of margin for error, here's loads of leeway one way or the other, and it's fine. But I disagree. I know, hard modes are like, hey, look, lethal. Woo. Lethal boss mechanics. Crazy, crazy. Why can't we have it in normal modes? Because otherwise, it's just dull. You can't focus properly, for one thing. I've already explained the concept of why binary hard modes are a bad thing. You've got 2 difficulty levels in binary hard modes. You've got easy and hard. No normal. You would complain horribly if a video game, any other video game, had easy and hard. It's like saying God of War 3 has mortal and God. That's a terrible idea, because for most people, mortal is too easy, yet for most people, God is too hard. That's why you have, like, 4 difficulty levels in that. Not 2, 4. So right now, got a state where the normal modes are just, whereas the hard modes are just, Yes, also a visual gimmick. That's bad. What you need is, you need to make sure that your normal modes also have a taste of that lethality. Those lethal boss mechanics have got to come back in there. Because you know what? I'll tell you this. I focus better if I know I am going to die if I screw up hard. Really. I'm going to die. I want to wipe the raid. It helps hone my skill. And it makes sure that I've got the pressure on me and the stress that keeps me sharp. It's good. And people learn better that way. And for God's sake, if you're going to make a fight like Sindragoza, just make it more dangerous and half the time that it takes to get to phase 3, because good lord. It's like hitting a cliff face. Like, phase 1, phase 1, phase 1, phase 1, phase 2, phase 2, phase 3, bang! Straight into a cliff wall. Horrendous. My name is Total Biscuit. You're listening to Blue Please here on CynicalBrit.com. People have been demanding a certain track, and I'm going to play it. Will I play the radio edit? Absolutely not, ladies and gents. Camelot, March of Mephisto. Enjoy.